It's the last one you'll ever take. On this episode of The Devil's Workshop, it's Rob Schmidt's Wrong Turn. Wrong Turn tells the story of medical student Chris Flynn, who takes a remote detour through the mountains of West Virginia to avoid a highway traffic jam, only to crash his car into a stranded SUV belonging to a group of 5 young campers. Stranded in the dense wilderness, the group splits up to look for help and stumbles upon a grotesque, isolated cabin filled with human remains. They quickly realize that they have wandered into the hunting grounds of a family of inbred, cannibalistic mountain men who have been physically deformed by generations of genetic mutation. What follows is a brutal, high-stakes game of cat and mouse, as the survivors must rely on instinct and resourcefulness to navigate the traps of the forest and outrun their highly skilled, sadistic predators. Wrong Turn is streaming on Prime Video, Plex, and YouTube. Welcome to The Devil's Workshop. I'm your host, Katy Oliver.
And I am your host, Nick Oliver.
And I think this will be an interesting movie to talk about. I mean, maybe I always say that, but I really do mean it this time.
Unlike all the other times.
Yeah, it was a
all
lie.
Nonsense.
It was a lie 8 of the other times, but I won't tell you which ones.
Yeah, so this movie kind of happened. This is somewhat of a happenstance thing.
This movie kind of happened.
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
I put this on a whim.
Yeah.
So I watched it separately from you, which is not what we usually do.
Yeah, not our preferred method most of the time.
Yeah, and then I had you watch it later because I'm like, oh, this movie's not very good.
We could talk about this.
This'll work.
Hey.
So yes, but I've never seen this movie before. But it was of some interest in a way, just because this is one of the few movies from this time to kick off a franchise, which is kind of interesting because there are so many things from the 80s especially that just had tons and tons and tons of sequels. Your Freddys, your Jasons, so on and so forth. I mean, they're not alone in that, but those are the prominent examples. That had continued on into the 90s to a certain extent, Hellraiser, Leprechaun, but that kind of tapered off. And some of those old franchises actually still were getting sequels during this time, but not really much from this era had that happen, with one other exception with Saw, and Paranormal Activity was a touch later.
That feels of a different generation to me.
They tried it with Blair Witch, kind of.
And no one wants it.
Yeah, well, Blair Witch 2, I've never seen Blair Witch all the way through.
You know, I've never seen a single Blair Witch. Not even for a second.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should watch that one of these days.
Maybe we should.
Yeah, I've seen like the latter third of the first Blair Witch. So not the preferred way to watch that movie.
I think that makes you an expert.
Yeah, right.
I also think this movie is odd to me because it's sort of representative of like a horror subgenre that's not super popular anymore. Mm-hmm. The sort of the spawn of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like the sort of nasty Wilderness Man movie.
Yeah.
I feel like that's such a relic of the early 2000s and not so much something we see anymore.
Well, so that's kind of interesting because a movie that I want to talk about that we've never seen is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, which is perhaps... I'm not actually sure of the timeline on this.
95 for that one.
No. You're thinking of probably the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation.
Oh, wait, yes. That's what
starring Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger.
I thought that was what you were referring to.
No. I mean the 2003. I think it's 2003.
Okay.
Around the same time as this. I think they're probably coinciding productions. I'm not sure they had an influence on one another.
Interesting.
Starring, I think, Jessica Biel.
It would.
Another white tank top final girl movie.
Yes. I mean, she has a sort of Eliza Dushku quality.
There was a trend during this time of final girls who you could tell they're the final girl because they're going to be wearing a white tank top, which this movie and Texas Chainsaw Massacre are sort of credited with kicking that off. So the tough girl from 2003, right. That's sort of the uniform if you're going
wearing
to be
her like Old Navy cargo pants and like the white tank top. Side note, is there a relationship between the white tank top movie and the black tank top movie?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
They're not like...
The black tank top movie is a famous idea of basically it's a vanity project by an incompetent stooge who makes an action movie or like somehow gets money to make himself look cool, he thinks.
Yeah.
And somewhere in the movie he's going to wear a black tank top. Usually because he's either really skinny and is not awesome and like badass looking, or he's really fat and also like not awesome and badass looking. So he finds it slimming. Because a white tank top, that's not flattering if you're carrying around a little extra.
And I wonder if they're kind of like... There's a dualism there, you know what I'm saying?
You'd think there'd be a dualism there, but
I'm gonna find it.
You think so?
I'm gonna find it.
Well, I mean, there's so the black tank top movies, that's a very 80s to 90s thing, right? Yeah, you're gonna make your direct-to-video piece of crap that is gonna be on the shelf at like Kmart.
It's probably now on
in a
Tubi.
bin, on the bottom of a bin. The white tank top final girl. I mean, you are making like tough badass characters out of girls who like who've never like punched anyone, or like these actresses are like supermodels. So they're not tough. I mean, they're tough in their own way, I guess, but they're not going to, like, beat somebody up. Like, if they get stabbed, they're not going to keep going on. You know what I mean?
If they were in a bank that was being robbed, they're not apprehending the robbers. But I think that's true of the black tank top guys, too.
Yeah, except they just really want to.
I think I found it. I think that's the relationship. It's
so there's a false badassness to them.
Yeah. Like tank tops, I don't know. Tank tops are full of lies.
We've really gone down
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to derail us.
No, it's okay. But yeah, I was kind of curious about this because this movie series seemed kind of ubiquitous in a way, but I'd never seen them. I didn't feel like I knew anybody who had. I never knew anybody who talked about it. Like, oh, Wrong Turn, you got to watch that. So I was like, why is it that people are making this? Why is this keep happening? Who's the audience for this? Why does it keep getting made?
I mean, I have a theory, but I would love to hear yours.
I think it's because all you have to do to make this movie is go out in the woods.
Find some fucking woods.
Yeah,
and just go
out there with a couple cameras, and there's your movie.
And a couple of Canadians. Right. That's the other piece of the puzzle. Not to say that they do badly for themselves here. I like our Canadians in this movie, but yeah, these movies must be cheap as hell to make.
I think that's really it. It's just that they're cheap to make.
Yeah.
So the mystery's solved. It's just in the most disappointing of ways.
If you can make one for $250,000, I mean, I just pulled that number out of a hat, but like, and they, make a bunch of money at the box office, why wouldn't you make 8 of them?
That's horror for you. Yeah. There's a reliable audience and it's cheap.
And, I think under the auspices of the day, like, this is an era where the sort of nasty torture porn flick, like the effects movie, is back in a really specific way. Mm-hmm. So like, sure, dump $10,000 into your kill effects because you're filming in the fucking woods,
right?
Your budget still doesn't need to be that high, to make a successful version of this kind of picture. It's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. That said, I did like this movie mildly. It's fine. I didn't dislike it. A word of caution to anybody who follows our recommendation. If you are interested in this movie, I will say 2 things. It's hard to imagine anybody really loving this movie, but like, I didn't hate the time I spent with it. Like, it passed the evening. If it's Thursday and it's 8 o'clock, put on a movie. Put on a movie, whatever.
That's so damning.
But it kind of. But I didn't hate it. I have problems. I will obviously share them. The other thing I will caution is that if you do watch this on a streaming service, I made the mistake. I watched it on YouTube.
As we both did.
Yes, we both did. Not realizing that the version on YouTube, at least, perhaps other streaming services, seems to be some kind of a made-for-TV edit or something. So I initially watched the movie and thought it was really bland. And toothless. And I still think that to a degree. I will spoil myself here a little bit, but not nearly to the same extent once I watched the full cut of the movie and realized it actually does have some violence in it.
Yeah, the YouTube version censors most of the kills.
And there is a kill in this I really like, actually, which is not in the YouTube cut. So, yeah, if you do want to look this up on any of the streaming services we listed, YouTube's probably the one we would recommend the least.
It is free though, so
that's true, it's free.
Whatever makes it, whatever passes an evening, listener.
Yeah, that's right. All right, ready to get into it?
Let's get into it.
All right, let's talk about what's working.
Yeah, so, okay, something I was going to say before, and I just I didn't know exactly how to phrase it, and I promise this is related to her critique, but this movie feels like an unmovie to me.
Okay.
It feels like, like if you blink too fast, like the movie will disappear, and it'll take a second to, like, load back into reality. Like, this feels like a movie that would be playing in another movie. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Do you feel that at all?
And you like this trait about the movie?
No.
Oh.
But, no, wait, no. Sorry, no.
We start with what's working.
I'm sorry. I just
You're so eager to criticize this movie.
I'm sorry.
You forgot the sequence of events.
No, but, sorry.
Do we need to table that thought?
You made me.
Okay.
Wait. Hello? I'm flatlining over here.
Okay, why don't we take that thought and just put that to the side
I'm just
for the time
move
being.
that. I'm just going to tuck that in to the side pocket.
I'm taking
for a
that and I'm
second.
putting it in my pocket.
Okay.
It's in my breast pocket right now. I'll pull it out later for you.
Thank you. I'm so glad you always remember to do these things. Wait, sorry. Let me try again. I don't have too much to say about performances here. Often we have a standout or something. I don't think they're, like, terrible or anything by any means. I just don't think there's a particular standout.
Yeah, you don't have to talk about performance if you don't.
Well, there are a couple of small things performance-wise that I wanted to bring up, though. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all this faint praise that I'm giving. But I rather liked Jeremy Sisto's character in this.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of his name. Scott? Was his name Scott? Was his name Doug? What was his
Albert?
name? Rudolph? Wait, what was his name? Oh my God. Sorry,
yeah,
listener.
It's Scott.
It's been a couple of weeks since I've seen this movie.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was Scott.
Yeah.
Okay. I really liked that they decided to include just like a sweet, kind of bubbly, good-natured guy character in this movie. That feels rare to me.
Sure.
Like, because I think, an easy impulse is to make your male characters, like, most of them are kind of scumbags, so it's easy to see them die, so you don't feel particularly attached to them, or just, like, if not scumbags, then just jerks. But he's, like, a good guy, and it's sad when he dies. Like, there's pathos to that.
Sure.
And I liked his performance. The only thing I had ever, to my knowledge, seen Jeremy Sisto in is Clueless, and he plays a real jerk in that.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen anybody in this movie in any other thing before.
Really? Wait, does that mean you've never seen Clueless?
I've never seen Clueless.
Holy shit, we
but,
gotta cover that.
Eliza Dushku is a big name.
Never watched
or was.
Dollhouse
I've never
or anything.
Seen, no,
Me neither, but
yeah, these are real actors. They have careers.
Yeah,
I just happen to have.
You've seen Julian Richings in stuff.
Oh yeah, that's
You've
right.
seen our Canadians.
So our lead villain, Julian Richings, this is his second appearance on the podcast.
That's right.
He was in Cherry Falls.
No, Urban Legend.
Urban Legend.
What's happening to us?
Another generic slasher.
That's funny.
Yeah, he was the evil / not actually evil janitor.
I was really
Urban
convinced
Legend. Yeah.
that the police officer, who's like the forest ranger guy, who's just so swiftly dispatched, I really thought that was the guy who played Pretty Boy Nelson in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? It was not him. It wasn't.
He was a TV actor.
It
He used
really
to be
looked
on,
like him, though, to me.
The Practice, I think, was the show he was on. Yeah.
Which I know you're a huge fan of The Practice.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, so you've seen that back to back 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got my DVD box set ready to go.
Desmond Harrington, I liked him well enough. I thought he had an interesting kind of toned down energy. Like he, the film kind of positions him as like a little bit of a dick at first, but he's not.
Yeah, he's really not.
He's really not.
Yeah.
Like even when he, someone is like making fun of him for being like preppy or something, he just kind of walks away from it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I liked his energy. Like
Sure.
I don't think the characters are bad here. They're just not enough.
Mm-hmm.
But are there any character things you wanted to mention?
Character things. Yeah, in the next section.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Shall we move on?
I don't have anything positive to say about no, but all the performances are fine. I don't have anything remarkable.
Yeah.
Nobody's bad. They're all fine.
Yeah.
I mean, for a movie like this, this movie isn't demanding anything of anyone, really.
No.
And
I think they mostly feel like real people.
Yeah.
Like just ordinary people, other than maybe a couple of them. But really, it works. It's serviceable.
Sure.
Okay. I'm looking at my list.
I do actually have good things to say about this
tell
movie,
me.
because it seems like you're really struggling.
I'm doing my best.
Okay. I mean, you don't have to say anything good about the movie.
But
if
I
you
want
have
to. Films are hard to make. I want to say good things where I can. But
Okay.
please,
Well,
take
that's
it away.
fine. So I have 2 things I really like about this movie.
Okay.
The first one, I will start with the one that I think is probably not so controversial. And I'm going to come up to one that I think it probably is rather controversial. And I think it's probably an arena in which we'll diverge. So I think that this could be interesting, our ultimate position that we take on this movie. Oh. Again, I don't love this movie, but it's pretty apparent now that I like it a lot more than you do. So the first thing I like about it, the non-controversial thing, is the environmental storytelling. There's a lot of it, right? And at least in a few crucial spots, it employs some environmental storytelling. By which I mean, like the sets, the dressings, right? They go into the cabin, and there are clues as to what's happening. Now, we as the audience obviously know pretty much exactly what's going on. We've seen the movie begins with a little prologue. You see a couple of people get killed, and you already know that there's going to be mountain men. Or so you have an idea of what the movie is when you start it, of course. So we know that there are cannibalistic mountain men who are killing people or whatever. So we already have that information. Of course, our characters at this point don't. They don't know that. So they go into the cabin. Which is, of course, a ridiculous thing to do in any case. That's if you're a slasher character, you're going to do that. But putting aside the rationale there,
sure.
They go into this cabin, and what are the objects that are filling this? Right? There's all the redneck hick stuff. Like there's all the stuff you'd think, right? But in addition to that, the cabin is filled with these random objects that. You wouldn't like. What are these things? Why is there a bin of cameras
or car keys?
There's a bin of car keys, which that would make sense, right? Because of all the people who've been killed. But the bins of cameras, the cabin is actually thoughtfully arranged, where these people who probably don't even understand what the hell they're collecting, because they're much too dumb to understand what most of these objects are.
They're chuds. They've never seen.
They're
them
basically
before.
chuds, sure. But they are. So in their cabin are the random items that are in cars at this time. And the random items that tourists have, vacationers and campers would have. So there's things like disposable cameras, film cameras, just everywhere. Got a big box of cameras. That's a weird thing, right? Which is not, that's not a genius idea, but it's easy to imagine a version of this movie where you go in and it's just clearly like a redneck torture cabin.
Yeah.
There's thought and consideration that's put into that. Like somebody thought this through. Okay, they're killing a bunch of people. What do they have? I don't know. Machetes. I don't know.
Bear
shotgun.
traps.
But instead they're thinking about that. What does that look like? Then they are cornered and escape, and they go into the junkyard that these inbred mountain mutant inbred chud hicks are they have, right? And that's a really that to me is like probably the best moment in the movie, when they flee into the junkyard and they kind of stop, and they somewhat ruin it because there's like they have one. I think Eliza Dushku's character says, "How are they getting away with this?" Which, like, the perfect way to have played that is for it to have been completely silent.
Yeah.
Because when she says, "How are they getting away with this?" Of course, I'm thinking, "Yeah, how are they getting away with this? Doesn't that make sense?" Right? So you don't provoke that in me.
It.
But even so, even with that mistake there, they go into this junkyard. And it clicks all of a sudden for them, like, holy shit, this is we've basically run into this murder compound.
It's sobering.
And this is it's this absolute weighty moment. They realize just how screwed they are, and how many people they have killed. The weight of that. And it's mostly treated with the reverence that it deserves. It's mostly silent. There's like somebody doesn't walk up. Oh my God, these are all the cars of all the people that they've killed. This is what this is. They just go in, and there's little touches. There's the discarded items that children would have had, for instance. All of that stuff. It's all there. It's laid out. So things like that, right? It's so easy to imagine a lesser version of a movie that didn't think about things like that.
Yeah, something I really do want to give this movie credit for is that I know we kind of joked about it being like an in the woods movie. And to me, I associate the in the woods movie with like low effort, little interest, or little care. But what I will say is that I think this tries to elevate that format. So it has the stuff in like the fire tower. It has the stuff, the treetop sequence. It has the junkyard or the sort of like graveyard of cars. It has, the extended sequence in the shack, all that stuff. Like, people had to put things together to make that happen. We're almost never running around in just wilderness, and even when we are, usually there's something interesting going on, like a waterfall or like a bunch of crazy craggy tree roots that people are hiding between, things like that. So I think this does show a lot more care than the sort of like what I would mean derogatorily when I say a woods movie.
Yeah, there is care that's put into this for
Yeah.
sure. It's not, again, the movie's not great, but it's so easy to imagine other choices, lesser the absence of a choice, really. Like go into the woods and find a dirty cabin somewhere and shoot some, I don't know. It's so easy to think about a version of this movie that would have no real thought put into it.
Yeah.
And this is not that great, but hey, I mean, essentially, the critique I'm giving it, the positive critique, is wrong turn. It's not as bad as it could have been.
No, I'll agree with that. I think my issue is that it just didn't hold a lot of like appeal for me. But I do think that there's stuff to appreciate here.
So I will then take this opportunity to that point to talk about the thing that is probably the controversial one. This may be where we diverge. I like how completely amoral this movie is. So this movie that has no qualms whatsoever about representing rural people as deformed, inbred, stupid monsters. And I don't just mean the inbred hick family. Like every southern or mountain person they meet is basically a mutant freak who lives on the fringes of society and is stupid and reprehensible and disgusting and dirty. This movie has a deep contempt for working class people. It has a deep contempt for rural people, for southern people.
Appalachia.
For Appalachia. It hates them.
It hates them.
Yeah. And I'm being honest here. I like that about the movie.
Okay,
I don't care.
All right. So you gotta tell me more about that.
I mean, again, I have given versions of this speech throughout the show. For as long as we do it, I probably will give many other versions of this speech. This is not my point of view. I really don't care. I don't care what the movie's point of view is. I mean, I have my limits, right? If the movie's about how great Nazism is or something, I mean, there is a wall somewhere for me. And that would be an example where it would be on the other side of it. But for me, this movie treats rural people as completely contemptible. That's its point of view. It doesn't care about nuance. There's no gray area whatsoever. There's no discussion of systematic oppression. There's no discussion of lack of opportunities. Nothing. It doesn't care about that at all. Mountain people are disgusting rednecks who need to die. Right? That's this movie's attitude.
What a shame that they can't be killed.
Right. Yeah. They're subhuman, but also indestructible. That's what this movie is like. This is what we think, and you're gonna see what I think for 85 minutes, and then it's gonna be over, right? I'm completely fine with that. I think it's refreshing in a way. Like it doesn't care about softening or shaving its point of view, shaving the edges off of it whatsoever.
Sure.
It's amoral for sure, but that's fine. I'm really okay with it.
Listener, is it worth saying just to point out, like, you are from this basic region? Kind of. Like, but you live at the seat of the Blue Ridge Mountains, basically, or that's where you're from. Sure. And I too, I'm a Southerner. I'm from North Carolina. You're a native Virginian. So you're allowed to say this.
Even if I weren't, that's my point of view. Sure, that's the movie's point of view, but that's fine. Like I'm happy for things to have a point of view. It doesn't have to be mine.
It's a fantasia of what this region of the world is like, or it's a nightmare of what this part of the world is like. Mm-hmm. And I think that in a horror movie, fine. You know what I mean? Like, try it out. Have your little nightmare version. Like it's we don't have to hold things to the highest of standards of verisimilitude, because the point is to scare
it's not
people.
Realistic. I don't care. Poor West Virginia, they really got screwed with that stuff too. Because West Virginia, the thing about West Virginia, people think of that as being like to many, it's the worst version of like the Southern hick thing. West Virginia was not part of the Confederacy, so
good for them.
Yeah, not to say that they're free of sin or something, but when people point to like the worst things about the South, like with the West Virginia, its history is a little more complicated than some of the South. They just got the short end of the stick when it came to reputation. Probably mostly due to the movie Deliverance and the novel on which it was based. But that's not my problem. Not. I don't care.
You too are amoral, and I love that about you.
No, I'm not amoral, but as an art critic, I can be.
Sure.
I wouldn't write this movie.
I can appreciate what you're saying, though. Like, just having something take a hard line and explore it. A clear. Because one of the things that I feel like we're always complaining about on this podcast is like something not really taking a stance. Just like our last episode, Maniac Cop. Like, is he fucking alive or dead?
Sure.
Just choose one.
Is Maniac Cop alive or dead? Are West Virginians subhuman monsters who need to be extinguished?
Culled.
Yeah.
Or just normal people.
Right.
And this movie has an answer.
It's got an answer.
I see what you're saying. I honestly hadn't really thought about it like that, but there you are.
Well, that's basically my positive critique here.
I was going to say, I think the treetop sequence is fun.
Yeah, well, that's my, that kill in the trees.
Is that your kill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a really good,
sure.
If you're going to watch this movie for any reason, I think that's a memorable, if you're the kind of person who watches a slasher movie because you want to see people killed in exciting and creative ways, there is an exciting and creative kill in this movie. Mm-hmm. That's probably the reason that if you're a slasher fan, like, watch it for that.
Sure.
Watch the clip on YouTube. Save yourself some time.
Yeah.
And it's 85 minutes, but you could spend the other 84 minutes doing something else instead and just watch the 1 minute clip on YouTube.
You could watch like an Ingmar Bergman film and then just slip that in when you go to take a pee break or something.
Sure.
And then, that's a night. That's an evening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't have that much else to say. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I tried, but I just didn't.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
You want to talk about what's not working?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's do it.
Will you pull that pocket square out of your pocket?
All right. Yeah, here it is.
Thank you. I'm unfolding it.
I'm throwing it. Oh, you're on. You have it already.
Oh,
You're
sorry.
unfolding
I give it back.
It was a
to
different
you.
square. Okay, I'm throwing it across the room now for you. You ready to catch it? Here it comes. Oh, there. Oh, you got it.
I
Wow.
got it.
All right, now you can unfold that pocket square.
Yeah, I'm unfolding it and I'm dabbing my tears with it. Yeah. What's happening? I really wanted the characters in this to be stronger.
Yeah, they're all bland. Yeah,
Eliza Dushku has
especially.
She has this monologue about like, oh, my friends, they're so great to me. When I got dumped this weekend, they hopped in the car and they took her on this trip.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to be kind of a gut punch moment where it's like, oh no, she feels like she got all of her friends killed.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, who are these people? I don't know them.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that it develops the characters after the fact. Like, they're dead. It tries to give you a reason to care about them after they're already out of the movie.
Yeah, post factum.
Right.
And it's like, sorry,
Yeah.
you kind of missed your window.
Yeah.
And a moment like that could really hit if we were charmed by the characters and we really liked them. But, like, I don't know them well enough to mourn them. You know what I mean? And, like, some of them just seem... I feel like the movie's making choices that make us like the characters less, and not necessarily in a way that's super productive. Like, they're not... I don't love to hate them either.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the character choices are just kind of a question mark to me. Like, Emmanuel... Is it Creekwee? Treekwee? How do you say her last name?
Oh, the actor? I have no idea.
I'm going to say Creekwee. Many
well,
apologies.
we just use the characters' names.
Yes.
I
Oh,
don't
right.
know.
What's her name?
I have no idea what the cast members' names are.
What's the character's name?
I don't even know which character you're talking about, because you just only
the girl
described...
whose kill is the best.
Oh, Carly.
Carly. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you. Thank you. So Carly kind of actively seems like she hates her fiance.
Yeah.
Like, he'll be talking or something and she'll be like, shut the fuck up.
Right.
And he's like, oh, sorry, baby, I love you so much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are these characters getting
She's
married?
weirdly bratty.
She's
yeah,
hostile.
which is frustrating because you actually like him.
Yeah.
He's the only one that has enough personality you can
to
feel
enjoy
positively
very much.
about him.
Well,
Yeah.
and then, but again, it's not enough to make me hate this character. I feel bad for her when she's frightened and is killed, know. So I'm just like, why this? Why? And I don't think it's that she's like performing it so badly or anything. I don't think that at all. It's just, it feels like an odd script that can't, talk about like choice issues. It can't decide what it wants these people to be, and so a lot of them are just kind of blank.
Yeah, especially Jesse to me. With the problem with... So you have a couple of characters that get introduced. So Jesse, or Eliza Dushku if you prefer, she's the poster character, but she's really not the lead. The lead is Chris.
Yeah.
But you can't put Chris on a poster and get in an audience in 2003.
He's not wearing a white tank top.
That's right. So she's not our lead, but we meet her, and right away she's gonna be the final girl, because she's assertive and she's tough, and she's got something like, okay, well, she's gonna live till the end. But when Chris gets into the accident, when he hits the disabled vehicle in the road, two of them get out. This is my mom's car. You're gonna pay for that. Like, okay, they're about to die. Right. They're okay. So they're rude, so we can feel okay about them getting killed right away.
Yeah.
There's a brief scene where they're sexually promiscuous, and then they're like stealing. They're going through Chris's things and his
stealing his
leftover.
stuff.
Yeah, stealing his stuff. Like, yeah, they're about to die.
Yeah.
That kind of that's lazy.
Yeah.
Like,
it feels like there's a sort of like slavish devotion to those familiar like social hierarchies of horror movies.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, this one's mean and that one's mean and they have sex, so they're gonna die.
Right.
And this one's like, she's tough, but she's also sensitive.
Yeah, she's so bland.
Yeah.
She just doesn't have anything.
And I having not really seen much, if anything else, with Eliza Dushku, I'm not clambering to lay that at her
No,
doorstep.
no.
It's just the script feels much too beholden to like the pattern. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm gonna say something. I think that as little love as this movie shows its characters or its protagonists, its ostensible protagonists, it does the same thing with the villains.
Mm-hmm.
We barely get to look at them. We barely get to see all those glorious like prosthetics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The movie is so uninterested in, and I'm not even saying like backstory, but just like lingering with the camera with them.
Yeah.
You know? And I thought that was a real weakness of this movie.
I know.
Because you could say like, oh, it's trying to keep them out of sight, you know, Jaws style, so they're scarier. But for some reason, it just doesn't work for me. Because I think if the point is to kind of ogle at their hideous deformities or whatever, we have to be able to ogle at them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I completely agree.
The camera needs to lavish attention on them.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a bunch of mutant freaks, you want to look at them. You want to get a good look.
I mean,
you really never do.
This is a movie that thrives on spectacle, or a kind of movie. I mean, that's your Saws. That's your... I don't know. Your
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. Your in the woods torture movies.
Sure.
And this movie just really pulls back in a way that is counterproductive.
Yeah, it's bland.
Yeah.
The characters are bland.
Yeah.
Both its heroes and its villains. The villains, to the extent that you do get to see them, I mean, now we have freeze frame, right? You can do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So, to the extent that you can see things, they look like they're good looking prosthetics or practical effects. The makeup effects look good. So, you know, I don't know why the camera's so shy about them. It's definitely to the movie's detriment. You do want to get a look at them eventually, and just never really done it.
And I genuinely had a difficult time telling two of them apart.
Yeah, I know.
So, and I was like, that doesn't seem... that should never... It should be kind of a Casper situation where, you know, if they're in enough prosthetics and stuff, if they have a sort of visual similarity to them, their bodies should be distinct from one another, or the way they move. But if the camera's not on them, you don't get the benefit of the performance.
So one of them's really slight. That's Julian Richings.
Yeah,
the guy
which you can spot him a mile away.
His frame is such that you can recognize him. He also has a really distinct face, even underneath all the makeup.
Yeah.
The other two, not so much.
They're
because
more
you don't
like
see them...
lumbering, burly types.
Yeah, well, the one guy is an archer, so he's always shot at a distance because he's firing at you with a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
So he's always far away, and the other guy's really big, but you see him in quick cuts, so it's hard to tell who's who. So
genuinely, I didn't realize there were three until I went back.
Yeah, they have names as well.
They do.
All three, only given in the credits. But,
and in the way that they are physically indistinct or like filmically indistinct, because the cameras, I like the way you said it, it's shy about them. The lore of them feels unclear to me as well. Like, what is their deal? Why, like, how did they get to be this way? Are they actually immortal? And if so, why? Like, last I heard, you know, having the highest possible coefficient of inbreeding, like, does not make you live forever. But like, where did they come from? Like, they feel placeless to me.
This might be a way in which we disagree, because there's no way to make this make sense. I mean, I think it's just not solvable. To me, like, it's just why are they like that? Because they're in the fucking mountains. That's why. You know, like, this to me is like it won't hold up to any scrutiny.
Sure.
I don't think there's any construction that's gonna make it sound.
That's fair.
Unless you want to make the movie much, much, much more elaborate.
Sure. I think that's totally fair, though I do think giving them something, no matter how silly, no matter how ridiculous, would put a little meat on the bone. You know what I mean? Like, it gives you something to look at and something to think about. You know, like, oh, like, what, you know, what happened with this family? How are they, I don't know, how are they related to one another? Or like, can we surmise how they have gotten to possess such incredible strength and longevity or something? Like, again, even if it's a stupid answer, I think having something to chomp on a little bit would be helpful. That's my I have like a number of sort of extended problems with the villains. Can I keep going?
Yeah.
Just for,
I mean, I'm basically done with my critiques.
Sure.
I mean, I definitely have problems. I'm probably going to agree with all the ones that you give. But ultimately, I think the movies, just to sum up my thoughts, so I can just sort of check myself out of this process. But the movie's bland. The movie could be a lot meaner than it is. It threatens to be that. I mean, it represents some things that are really very cruel, but it doesn't have enough guts to show.
For it to bear out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it needs to, but it could do that. And maybe I'll give you a little taste of how I think that should be later.
Absolutely. Well, and I think I'm about to give a sort of more in-depth version of some of the stuff you just said, because I think we've had just the tiniest little conversation about this movie already. When we were deciding, like, is this a good one for the podcast? But something I really wanted to talk about is that the two things that we know about these villains, that they are A, cannibals, and B, inbred mountain people, seem kind of to be at odds with one another. So there is no female presence in the group of mountain people, nor do there seem to be any traces of former women in the shack. All the victims who are women, at least that we see, are killed immediately. They are not dragged back to be part of the mountain man harem. There seems to be a momentary threat of sexual violence against Eliza Dushku's character, but the villain just immediately whips out a knife and seems like he's about to kill her instead of, sexually torment her. So it seems like the movie wants to use the inbred mountain man type without actually exploring what that would mean for them in a practical way. Like, it doesn't bear out in their lifestyle or the spaces that they inhabit. And, I guess I get, not wanting to deal with the sexual violence element, but if that's the case, why choose that trope? Why not just have them be mountain cannibals, who are, but whose sexual politics are sterling? I mean, I don't know. It just... Apparently, the original script actually did do more with that element, but I find that the choice to be vague about it makes the villains feel kind of untethered from their setting. Another thing I noticed is that the characters, as in our protagonists, our survivors, don't even really talk about them when they're not actively being chased by the mountain men. They don't really discuss, what the fuck is going on with those guys? Did you see that one guy? He's got 90 fingers, oh, what a horrible mutant spectacle that we've just glimpsed. They don't converse about them. They don't talk about much, really. But yeah, this movie feels, again, if you stop looking at it, it's going to cease to exist.
Sure.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is that crazy? I'm just it's not that I'm a huge on seeing, horrible graphic sexual torture on screen or anything, but I'm if they're inbred, where are the women at? That's what I'm saying. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, no. I mean, yeah, I think it's easy enough to explain. Where are the women? They're dead. They're the last ones.
I guess.
I mean, that doesn't have to be the answer, but yeah, I mean,
it just feels cowardly.
All right.
To have your inbred mountain men and not, I don't know, not even really.
Are you gonna solve that in your revision?
It's unfortunately it's possible. Look, I felt a horrible burden has been placed upon me. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It just the whole thing felt out of step. One other thing, and this is a really small thing. This is me being nitpicky, but I did want to bring it up. You mentioned the shack set, the cabin set, and I agree with you. It's a really fun set because it's got all this nasty stuff in it. It's got the bowl of car keys, the disposable cameras, the gnarly old toys. There are all these things that are total horror movie signifiers. If you saw that in a house, you would know you were in a slasher movie. And that's
Yeah.
great. I did think, though, that like when all the characters go into the shack, they are exploring it for such a long time that it became laughable to me.
Yeah,
like it
sure.
felt very like LA Noire, where like someone would be like picking up like a filthy doll's head with bugs crawling out of it and just turning it over, being like,
Yeah, it's comical for sure.
Yeah,
the tropes on display here are very tired.
It's aggressively telegraphing
Yeah.
to like, this is a Cannibal Mountain Man's house.
Right.
Probably you should leave. I was amazed that they had a bathroom and not like a hole in the ground. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, sure.
they're like, there's mystery meat sticking off of a femur in the fridge. What's that about?
Yeah, I have to think that basically they're thinking like, okay, 17-year-olds are going to go see this on a date, and they've
Sure.
never seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Sure,
Because this
yeah.
is the first horror movie they've ever seen because they're 17. So we don't have to worry about the tropes
Right.
that are on display because we're playing for an audience that don't know about
They're
them.
fresh. They're, yeah. Sure.
So maybe that's the thinking. But I do know about them, so
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
to be critical.
Yeah, and it's like they explore the space. The characters, the protagonists explore that set really thoroughly in like a Clue sense. Like they find all the evidence of what they're up against. But I never felt like they explored it to my satisfaction in a spatial way. Like the house is never really used for like exploring, hiding. I mean, I know some of those things literally take place, but I found that part just like not that satisfying. Like I wanted them to like get deeper and deeper into the complex of the house and be like, oh my god, it keeps going. There keeps like a Barbarian or something, where like the house just keeps going. You're like,
Well, there's certainly
oh my
no
God.
sense of the space that you get from
Yeah,
it. Whereas the
yeah.
house from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think you could probably like plot that out on like blueprints.
Yeah,
more or less.
you really know.
I mean, I
how the
assume that
house
was
is
that
organized.
was an actual house.
I think you would
surely,
think so.
But,
Yeah,
yeah.
at least parts of it. So yeah, I think I felt when we were in the shack, it felt like things were a little off. But again, that's me nitpicking just because I appreciate, honestly, a movie that's really spatially clear, like well organized and stuff, and that makes good use of its sets. But yeah, again, I wanted to bring that up. But that's the gist of my critique.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you loved it.
Yeah, basically I loved it, and it's my favorite movie.
Okay. Well, you want to go ahead and get to the revision?
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, for me, first, it's a little warm. So I'm going to cool off with a nice bottle of Pepto-Bismol, but then I'll be back with my revision.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've actually got to go sift ponderously through a bin of filthy plastic dolls' heads, but then I'll be back with my revision.
And we're back. So, me first this time.
Did you hear, listener, the sound of him rubbing his palms together?
Yeah, so this is going to be a fun one. I'm excited about this revision.
I'm excited.
We're going to go in some interesting directions here, I think. So, young couple Haley and Rich are rock climbing in the West Virginia forest. Rich reaches the top and looks at the view, while Haley struggles to complete her climb. She slips, but her climbing line catches her. She calls for Rich to pull her up to the top of the cliff, but she hears a strange, sudden sound from above, and he doesn't respond. Rich falls at the cliff's edge, dead. Laughter is heard from above as someone unseen saws at Haley's climbing line. She falls but catches herself, only to her horror, as she reflexively grabbed her boyfriend's disemboweled intestines. Her salvation is short-lived as the roots and rocks that held her lover's corpse in place give way, and she falls to the ground, and she is forced to roll out of the way to avoid the falling missile that is his body. Stunned but alive, Haley almost reaches her car, but she trips over a piece of barbed wire at the last second and is pulled back into the woods, screaming. So, this is my version of Wrong Turn as an exploitation movie.
Ooh.
A hateful exploitation movie. So, we're taking that element that I like so well, and we're bearing down on it.
Yes.
So, we proceed on. Everything from this point remains the same, up to the point where Scott crashes into the other vehicle, the other disabled vehicle on the rural country road. So, Jesse finds a piece of barbed wire in the woods that was tied to a tree across the road after their tires were punctured. Jesse, who is the most irritated of the new group, that's our change, convinces Carly and Scott to come with her as she goes further down the road to find help. Evan and Francine choose to stay. They work for an aid group and were on their way to organize a volunteer response nearby after a major flood. As others in the organization were expecting them, they choose to remain in case they come searching for them. Chris chooses to leave. Despite the circumstances of their meeting, Carly and Scott quickly show themselves to be friendly. The four of them find a dead animal. We're going to cut the part where Chris is able to identify it. Because Chris, in my revision, is not a medical student. He does not recognize it as a mink. So otherwise, this section is basically the same for a time. So what we have here, Evan and Francine, not so aggressive. So when we first have the crash, this is my mom's car, you're going to pay for that, mister. That's not who these characters are. They work for an aid group, like a Red Cross or something like that, right? That kind of organization.
Doctors Without Frontiers.
Right.
No, Borders, excuse me.
Doctors.
I was thinking Médecins Sans Frontières.
Right. So, so they are changed. So Carly and Scott are nicer. Carly, let's dial her back, make her a little less bitchy. A little less responsive in a negative way to Scott's affections. But I do want to maintain, she does have this thing where she's like going and picking flowers and she's in like vacation mode in a way. She's very light and airy. So I want to keep that trait of hers. But otherwise, there's a naive quality to her. She has no idea what she's in for. So I'm going to maintain that. They're mostly the same, except they are volunteers. Whereas Evan and Francine actually work for the organization. They're employees. So that's going to be the change that we have here. To these characters. So as we cut back, so our group goes ahead. We cut back to Evan and Francine. Evan and Francine discuss whether they should have let Jessie go unsupervised, given her circumstances. Ooh. They go on to wonder if she came from a difficult background, and maybe she just did the best she could. Then they're horribly murdered. So that happens much in the same way. The facts of their being killed, not the facts of them. They're not stealing Chris's things. They're not sexually promiscuous. We're not telegraphing to the audience that they're about to die, right? Any more than we already are by the fact of us leaving them alone. That's enough to say like they're screwed at this point, but not enough. We're not invoking those old tropes. So, we move along. Carly and Scott, they're talking about their wedding plans. They do have a little jump scare, like a false one, where she's jumps out at the same time as Evan and Francine are being killed elsewhere. We're getting rid of that. That's dumb. So, it moves along. So, they're doing their little play thing. Jessie tells Chris that apparently they just got engaged. Chris notes her use of the word apparently, and Jessie tells him she never met them before this morning. Before that thread can continue, they find an isolated cabin, which is in terrible disrepair and is surrounded by discarded refuse. So, again, we're making changes to their relationship. So Jessie, rather than, as would be revealed in the original version of the movie, that she knows them and they're all responding to her having been dumped, we're making a change, seating it here, that she does not know these people. So, that's a change. But then we get up to the cabin. Everything from when they walk into the cabin up to the point where I believe I've already forgotten her name. Francine's body is brought in, is basically the same. So Chris, Jessie, Carly and Scott silently watch in horror as her body is butchered and partially eaten. During this sequence, the camera lingers on the horrified faces of the four, while the sounds of the horror are only heard, but only the aftermath is seen when the camera finally pans up. So what I want to have there, I want her body, so she's butchered here, but you really don't get very much of it in the original. I want to, it takes time and effort and blood and all the kinds of things to butcher a body. Imagine how awful it would be if you're just lingering, if the camera stays down with these trapped people who are hiding underneath the tables and in closets and stuff, and you just stay with their reactions while the sounds of a body being dismembered for like a minute or two are happening above. Just the sound. Just think about that. Let your actors act. Right?
Yeah.
And that's going to be so much more horrifying in a way. Like, just audio can be really stomach-wrenching.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It can be really difficult. So that's what I want during this moment. So, only the aftermath is seen when the camera finally pans up, clearly revealing... pursuant to what we were discussing here, clearly revealing the hulking Sawtooth, whose teeth... These are the names that the characters are given in the credits. Whose teeth, which are highly visible due to his cleft palate, have decayed into points. Three Finger, who, among other defects, has syndactyly on both hands. And One Eye, who indeed has one eye, though in its whiteness appears blind. However, the half-formed, baby-like parasitic twin emerging from his torso seems to function as his eyes. The trio communicate in what is only possibly a language, as it sounds more like grunts and squeals than distinct words. So I did a few things here. These are not terribly changed, except for One Eye, the archer, he has no real obvious characteristic when you look at the original. Like, if you see photographs of the original prosthetics and the facial appliances and stuff, he's kind of generic, except he's missing an eye. He doesn't really have a look about
dirty.
him. So I gave him a Belial. I gave him a parasitic twin.
Sure.
And I basically went through and said, what are the most common birth defects? And so I just gave them all those. So one of the characters in this is named Three Finger, but you never really get a good look at his hands in the original movie. There's one shot where he sticks his hands up in the trap door in the fire tower, and you see three of his fingers, but you don't necessarily know that that's because he only has three fingers on the one hand, or if it's just that the trap door opened and only got three fingers through. So you don't get much of a great look at him. So I gave him syndactyly, which is the thing where your fingers, usually it would be common enough to have your ring finger and pinky fused and your index finger and middle finger fused, so that it would give the appearance of having three fingers at a glance. So that would be among his defects, the one from which he derives his name. So I'm taking what's already there and just giving it more purpose than it seems to have in the original version. But yeah, so One Eye, he's got a Belial. He has a whole, that's my favorite one. So he has a whole separate mutant parasitic vestigial twin who's sticking out of him. Yeah. So One Eye is blind. But I like the idea that this vestigial twin is going to be murmuring at him, helping him aim his bow and arrow,
puppeteering him
kind
around.
of. Yeah.
Oh, that's
so you
really
don't
cool.
really know who's
seeing what?
Is the brain, or there are two brains in him? It's kind of ambiguous. He's so disgusting, you don't know exactly the mechanics of how he works. But yeah, I wanted them to have some verisimilitude here. I wanted them to have real life birth defects, basically. Sure. Because this is an exercise in bad taste. That's essentially what I've turned this movie into.
Sure.
So we get to the junkyard scene, which that's almost exactly the same, except I want it to be almost completely wordless when they get out there. How are they getting away with this? Yeah, I don't want that moment where it's making me think, how are they? Let's dial that back. So just completely silent. That could be a much more effective actual horror sequence at this point. Then, as Scott makes his break for it, they split apart so that he can help everybody get away. Scott gets shot in the back with the arrows. One Eye, despite his blindness, is an expert marksman at his parasitic twin's direction. So that's going to be where that trait of this villain is demonstrated. So, Chris, Jesse, and Carly come to a fallen tree and are forced to continue on foot. Here comes the change. A broken-hearted Carly says that she can't go on, but when Jesse moves to leave her, she panics and follows meekly. So originally, Jesse's like, "You can do it, Carly. We have to go on. Scott gave his life so we could live, and you have to honor his sacrifice here." Jesse's like, "All right, fuck you. I'm out of here." So Carly's like, "What? You're leaving me behind?" They were changing the dynamics here big time because they don't have that history. The now trio presses on. Chris narrowly avoids being caught in a trap. Shortly before dark, they pause so that the injured Chris can rest, and he shares with Jesse that, here comes the change, he went to school to be an engineer, and that he was going to interview with a fracking company. Oof. He was told by the recruiter to drive from his home in New York to the interview in Raleigh, the long way, through the Appalachian Mountains. If he arrived in Raleigh, having seen the mountains and its people, still comfortable in the knowledge of what he'd be destroying, he'd have a job. He chuckles bitterly, saying that before today, he'd almost talked himself out of it. Carly, who stepped away while he and Jesse speak, realizes they are close to the foot of an old watchtower. They climb up. So that change would be pretty apparent. So there's a major change there. There's a very minor one. So the very major change, he's now an engineer. He's not a doctor. He doesn't want to help people. Mm-hmm. He's going to ruin this area. Like, fracking destroys mountains. Mm-hmm. It destroys rural communities. So our hero, our lead character, is hostile to these people and the setting. So we're changing the dynamics here, obviously, big time. We're not making him a medical student. So he's not, he doesn't have that heroic context that we kind of ascribe. Oh, he's a doctor, wants to help people. He doesn't have that. This guy doesn't want to help people. Yeah, so that's a big change. So happy about that. I'm also changing. There's a slight thing here. I don't know if you caught it when you watched the original movie, but they settle down and have this conversation, and they look up and realize they're below a fire tower. Like, they're just kind of at it. Yeah. Like, wait a minute, and they just look up. Oh shit, there's a fire tower. So I want Carly to kind of break away from them and realize that they're close to it. So there's a very subtle change there, but it was dumb in the original movie. So let's take out the things that are implausible in that way, at least. Yeah, so everything from the moment they get up to the fire tower and escaping from it, that's good stuff. I like that sequence pretty well. So that's great. They use a tension tree branch. They knock one of them over and stun him. They get away. They retreat to the waterfall. Then they have their moment where in the original movie it implies like there could maybe be a romantic moment between the two of them. It never goes anywhere. They don't sleep together. Chris takes Eliza Dushku by the chin, like that kind of like putting your hands on someone's chin. Obviously, is a very like romantic.
It's intimate.
It's an intimate form of contact. This is the moment in the original movie where she's like, "I can't." They were coming to save me. They're all dead now. It's because of my breakup. So instead, in this moment. So we're in the waterfall. Jessie shares with Chris that she didn't want to go on this trip, that it was only to work some community service hours, and that it seemed like it would be just as much a vacation as it would be working, so she said yes to it. Chris asks what she did. She says that it was nothing serious. Pushing her on the matter, she admits she was selling her food stamps for drugs. Jessie seems to think of it as no big deal, but Chris moves away from her in disgust. So, we're changing some things there, obviously. So we're making Jesse an unlikable character. Yeah. Mm-hmm. More than we already have, anyway. So we proceed along. The next morning, they wake up. They're attacked again. The police officer's car comes in. He's unceremoniously killed. Then he takes off, right? He lashes to the bottom of the...
Chris does.
The
car.
The car, yeah. The disabled, the dead officer's car. Thank you. So we resume changes when later Jesse is tied to a bed and gagged with a belt, crying. Chris is seen outside collecting refuse bottles and lighters from a bin, apparently stored together as removed from the mutant victim's possessions. So he kind of shows up in the original cut and just has Molotov cocktails.
Yeah.
Which I don't have a problem with that, because in the police officer's car, the truck, the Jeep thing that he has, there are 2 fuel canisters there. So if you're paying attention, you can see how he would fashion Molotov cocktails. But then they use them a second time to blow up the car, so that whole thing. So I wasn't so sure about, like, okay, how much mileage can we get out of these fuel canisters? I wanted to telegraph this a little more openly than we do. So this is a mild change. As she is about to be slaughtered, Chris throws a Molotov cocktail at the cabin, setting it ablaze before driving the police truck through the front door and into One Eye. Chris leaves the vehicle and, seeing One Eye trapped under the wheel with his parasitic twin sticking out, stomps the twin in its head, flattening it. So let's have a very brutal, violent murder of just the vestigial twin part of it that's sticking out. So he's kind of like a Koatu or something from Total Recall, sort of doing his thing. The fight breaks out in much the same way. Then Jesse thanks Chris for saving her, though he doesn't respond. Observing that the cannibals are inexplicably still alive, they retreat outside. Jesse tells him to shoot them, but he is out of shotgun shells. The mutants pursue the heroes. The burned and injured inbred freaks slow-speed chase the injured Chris and Jesse, chasing them into a nearby cave. So we've got a brand new sequence here. With only a glimmer of light from the cave's mouth illuminating the scene, all 5 are forced to move slowly. Jessie whispers that it stinks, then realizes to her horror that the cave is used for the mutants' latrine. Chris, pausing for a moment, replies, "No, it's not just that. That's natural gas." After a look of determination goes over Chris's face, he shoves Jessie over and into the light. Stunned, she cries out, luring in the pursuing mutants. Capitalizing on the distraction, Chris sneaks around the chaotic scene and stands at the cave's mouth, yelling to the mutants and Jessie, "You're vermin. You're parasites. You're all parasites." Chris throws a lighter deep into the cave, igniting the well of natural gas within and causing a massive explosion which throws him some distance and kills everything within, Jessie included. Chris drives the cannibal's truck, stops back at the gas station. Chris, badly injured, gets out of the truck and removes the map to the cannibal's cabin so no one will ever go into the woods again. He gets back into the truck and drives away as the credits roll. The credits are, however, interrupted by a scene showing a volunteer aid worker who is apparently searching for the missing Evan and Francine. He is investigating and picking over the remains of the destroyed cabin. Unfortunately, Three Finger, who apparently survived the explosion, comes up behind the worker and kills him. The end.
Yay!
So, yeah. I'm pretty happy with this, actually.
Yeah, no, this is great.
Yeah.
This sounds so much fun.
This movie is cruel.
Yeah.
It's hateful.
Yeah.
It sees West Virginians as awful parasites who just want to rob and steal and murder others and take what they don't deserve and consume our tax dollars and take our food stamps. And I want it to be like a really hateful, sort of like wealthy, like an urban person's idea of what coal country is. That's the idea. So everyone's deformed. They have all these birth defects. They live off of food stamps. They don't work. They just mistreat us as we pass through to go to Raleigh or whatever. That's the idea that's empowering this. So Jessie, as being someone who's trading her food stamps for drugs, she aligns herself with the West Virginians in the end.
Sure.
With the inbred mutant freaks.
You could do so many interesting things with that visually, like for instance, the way characters dress, like, you know, like little class signifiers and stuff. Being like, oh, like that subtly positions Chris as even more of an outsider. That's so fun. Yeah, I mean, it's Chris, wretched and hateful.
It's hateful. Yeah.
I mean,
a hateful movie, even more hateful.
You made fracking the answer to these problems.
Yeah.
And that's
I'm
insane.
really happy that he blew them up using natural gas in the end. I had that idea. I was like, this is genius. Like, we're taking his character trait and we're turning it around. Like, it's going to matter to the plot.
Is there any way that he could, like, drill for oil at some point in the movie? Like, can you fit that in? Those are my only notes.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's so funny. Oh, it sounds intense.
I have a sense that my revision went a very different direction from yours.
Well, it definitely did. You know, and if you're taking as your model, like, the exploitation film, or like just the capital N, like, nasty movie. I used as my model probably like a mix of like Barbarian, but also Until Dawn, because I think those are both versions of this kind of story that I really like.
Okay.
The isolated wilderness horror story.
Great.
Or not wilderness in Barbarian's case, but you know what I mean. Okay, let me settle myself and I'll get started.
Let's do it.
Okay. So in the sort of preface scene where you have the rock climbing couple, Haley and Rich, I make one change. So everything is the same except that when the opening credits actually roll, instead of seeing Haley's dead body, you see Rich's corpse instead. But the same sort of beauty shots of, like, you know, the unblinking eye, the finger, the whatever, right? Okay. Later, Chris Flynn is driving through the mountains of West Virginia on his way to a job interview with Weston Pharmaceuticals. Finding traffic at a standstill due to a chemical spill on the highway, and noting that the semi-truck several cars ahead of him belongs to Weston, he gets out of his car to speak to the driver. The trucker, however, treats him with condescension, so he elects to take a different route. Already some small changes. So he's not going necessarily to Raleigh. He's going to interview with this company, Weston. More on that later. So the next little bit is the same. Chris crashes into the disabled vehicle bearing the rest of the characters. He does still identify the dead animal, the mink. He is still a med student in my version. They split up. Evan and Francine stay behind. And this is where we pick up. Evan hears a sound in the woods and goes to investigate. After a while, Francine notices he is missing, and she follows into the woods to look for him. As Francine ventures further into the woods, she finds Evan's sneaker and gasps as she finds him dead and bound to a tree, his mouth torn open by barbed wire. As Francine stumbles back, a hand reaches out from the underbrush and trips her. A grotesquely deformed figure of a man emerges from the foliage and smashes Francine's feet with a sledgehammer, hobbling her and knocking her unconscious. The figure binds her legs with more barbed wire, then cuts Evan's corpse down from the tree and drags them both backwards through the brush. So, Francine, her fate, unclear so far. Evan, still dead. Sorry, Evan. And I liked the thing of, like, binding someone's mouth with barbed wire until their face rips open. I mean, that's a good sort of memorable kill. So I wanted to preserve that somewhere, but just not with Francine. Okay. So, let's see. Carly and Scott discuss their wedding plans, though Carly is non-committal and playful, picking flowers and jumping out at Scott, startling him. As they continue their journey, the four find an isolated cabin, which is in terrible disrepair and surrounded by discarded refuse. Next to the shack is a set of padlocked storm doors. Out of options, the group enters the cabin and finds rotten food scattered about, a cooking pot boiling away, and a strange assortment of random items, such as car keys, sunglasses, film cameras, and so on. The group splits apart to explore, Chris searching for a phone and Carly hunting for a bathroom. Jesse discovers coils of barbed wire, while Chris finds a bowl of withered human ears in the refrigerator. Simultaneously, as Carly wades through a sea of medicine bottles in the filthy bathroom, some of antique glass and others of plastic, but all marked with the Weston Pharmaceuticals logo, she finds a corpse mostly submerged in a filled bathtub. The group realizes all at once the incredible danger they're in. They move to depart, but they are trapped as the homeowners make their return in an antique pickup truck. Side note, homeowners made me laugh when I first read the summary. That just seemed like such a mild word here. Anyway, they are forced to hide as three cannibalistic, deformed mountain men enter the cabin and bring in Evan's dead body. Chris, Jesse, Carly, and Scott silently watch in horror as Evan's body is butchered and partially eaten. Francine is nowhere to be seen. So, yeah. I wanted it to be much clearer from the clues that they find. Like, I wanted it to be, like, immediately clear. Like, oh no, this is a bad place that we're in. And linger in that space for a shorter amount of like on-screen time, but have it be the same ultimate conclusion.
Sure.
Okay. Cannibals fall asleep, blah blah blah. They try and sneak out. They accidentally wake them up. The redneck cannibals are searching for them in the clearing. All that stuff's good. I like it. Let's see. Scott decides to make a distraction so that they can run away and steal the truck. As Scott begins to get close to the truck, he is shot in the back with an arrow, and he swoons. Carly freezes in shock, but the wounded Chris is able to drag Scott just barely into the truck bed before the cannibal mountain men catch up with them. Chris shouts at Jesse to drive, and they narrowly escape from the skilled archer. So Scott lives, at least for a little bit longer.
Okay.
Let's see. Chris, Jesse, Carly, and Scott come to a fallen tree and realize that they will be forced to continue on foot. Scott, barely conscious from blood loss and knowing he's likely to die, tries to comfort a despairing Carly. Chris does his best to patch up Scott's wounds, but seeing that it's getting late, they all know that they need to find shelter for the night. They abandon the car in favor of the woods. Chris narrowly avoids being caught in a bear trap. Then, shortly before dark, or as it's just getting dark, rather, they pause to rest. Jesse asks Chris about his medical knowledge. He shares that he was training to be a doctor, but recently gave up on it in favor of the job interview he was meant to attend today. The group realizes that they are at the foot of an old watchtower and climb up. Inside, they find a radio and use it to call for help, though they do not initially get a response. They also discover a Weston Pharmaceuticals branded first aid kit, which allows them to refresh their bandages, as well as thick binders lining the shelves. Carly notices that she keeps seeing the brand Weston Pharmaceuticals everywhere, and Chris explains that Weston has been a massive presence in that part of West Virginia since the early 1900s. Jesse reads through the papers in the binders, which appear to be some kind of observation logs, but they're written in shorthand that makes little sense without a key. She remarks that the binders have dates stretching back for decades, noting that they seem to be logs. Chris, distracted as he stands guard at the window, says they're likely just forest rangers' logs. All conversation ceases shortly after when Chris spots the cannibals, who are armed with torches. So same thing transitions in this scene. The radio crackles on. The cannibals realize they're in the tower, and they set the tree on fire.
Mm-hmm.
With no better option, they jump out of a broken window into a nearby tree. Chris and Jesse move from tree to tree, but Scott, exhausted from his wounds, lags behind, with Carly urging him on. However, his slow pace allows Three Finger to sneak up behind him, slicing his head in half with an axe as his body falls to the ground. As his body falls to the ground below, bouncing off of branches on the way down. Jesse and Chris urge a nearly catatonic Carly to keep moving, but she merely stands there until Three Finger catches up with her and pushes her off of the tree branch. Jesse watches in horror, but Chris drags her away before she sees Carly hit the ground. Let's see. So the same little bit is the next little bit is the same, where they use a tension tree branch to knock Three Finger out of the tree, though it doesn't kill him. And Jesse and Chris have their same little conversation. Oh, it's just dumb. My friends took me here to camp with me, blah, 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 all that. Then Chris admits that the job he was going to interview with at Weston Pharmaceuticals was one he had reservations about. He was going to do it despite knowing that they had an extensive history of unethical human drug trials in the region, as well as experiments in eugenics in the 1920s and 30s. He now regrets his choice to put his morals aside in favor of money. As they're falling asleep, Jesse reflects that the watchtower had no government insignia inside it. So just a little note. At dawn, they keep looking for a way out. Just as they find a road out of the woods, the mountain men find them, pushing Chris down a hill and capturing Jesse to take her back to their base camp. A terrified Jesse is taken not to the shack, but instead to the bunker-like room beneath the padlocked storm doors. Inside are the suspended bodies of the lamed Francine, Carly, whose shattered right arm dangles limply at her side, and her arm having been broken in the fall out of the tree, and a visibly pregnant Haley. Though whether they are alive or dead, Jesse is not yet sure. Jesse is bound and gagged with a belt, crying. To her horror, Sawtooth approaches her with a penknife. He paws at her idly for a moment before cutting off one of her ears. Her muffled screams wake Francine, though she pretends to be unconscious. Sawtooth leaves as quickly as he arrived, completely disinterested in Jesse's cries as he fondles the severed ear. As weak sunlight filters through a hole in the ceiling, all of the women in the room are revealed to be missing their right ears. So, yeah. I wanted to inject some more nastiness into this movie as well, while also kind of exploring, like, if they're inbred cannibal mountain men and there are no women as part of the gang, they got to be getting them from somewhere. So yeah, I just wanted it to be kind of like awful. Let's see. Jessie spits out her gag and calls to the other women. Francine responds, but Carly merely mumbles Scott's name again and again, still in a grief-stricken haze. Haley introduces herself. Jessie tries to free herself from her bonds, but she's woozy from blood loss. When she asks whether anyone has ever escaped from the bunker, Haley tearfully admits that others have come and gone since she arrived, but never alive. Eventually, their bodies all gave out. So the next part is the same. We go back to Chris. The stuff with the police officer or the sheriff or the deputy, whatever it is. He arrives and is immediately killed. Chris hitches a ride on the bottom of the car as the cannibals drive it back to their compound. As Jessie's eyes adjust to the darkness, she starts to notice more details of her surroundings. Like the shack, the bunker is filled with discarded items and trash, folding maps, belaying gear, piles upon piles of clothes, empty soda bottles, snack wrappers, and stacks of crumpled papers stamped with the Weston Pharmaceuticals logo. Hidden among the refuse is also a spare canister of gasoline. After a long and pained silence, a woozy Jessie says that she has no intention of sticking around this dump, no matter the cost. One by one, Haley and Francine agree, though Carly remains silent. Jessie asks Francine whether she still has her lighter in her pocket. Francine thinks for a moment and confirms that she does, but she can't reach it with both of her arms tied up. Haley asks if the adjacent Carly can grab it instead, given that her broken arm has been left to hang free. When Carly does not respond, an exhausted Francine screams at her to snap out of her stupor. Jessie shushes Francine, then turns back to Carly. Very gently, Jessie asks her if she'd like to be with Scott now. Carly lifts her head and nods, seemingly aware of the other women in the room for the first time. Haley, catching on, picks up the thread and says that the cannibals took someone from her, too, and she wants very badly to see him again. Together, the two girls press Carly as Francine weeps with frustration and pain. Eventually, Carly reaches out agonizingly with her shattered arm and manages to fish the lighter from Francine's pocket. All you have to do now is light it, Jessie urges, and Carly does so. As Haley and Jessie coach her, she tosses it towards the heap of crumpled papers. It lands a bit short, but together, Haley and Jessie scooch the lighter along the dirt floor with their feet. The flame catches and spreads, and soon smoke starts to pour out of the sod roof and into the sky. When the mountain men see that their precious bunker is on fire, they burst through the doors and begin dragging the women out one by one. Sawtooth throws Jessie over his shoulder, and a defiant Jessie bites her grotesque rescuer's ear until it tears away in her mouth. Enraged, he tosses her to the ground and prepares to kill her with a machete. As she's about to be slaughtered, Chris throws a Molotov cocktail at Sawtooth, setting him ablaze, before running him over in the police truck. He then partially unties Jessie, but she tells him to help the other women escape their captors. He shoots One Eye and Three Finger with the police officer's shotgun. Haley attacks One Eye with a tire iron and manages to wrest Carly away from him. She tries to shepherd an unwilling Carly along, but One Eye stabs Haley in the shoulder and attacks her with an axe. Meanwhile, Jessie uses the abandoned machete to cut her binds, but Sawtooth, not yet dead, chases after her. Three Finger toys with Francine as she attempts to crawl away, choking her with barbed wire until Jessie hits him in the chest with the axe. Overpowered and nearly defeated, Haley is saved at the last moment by Jessie, who shoots One Eye in the back of the head with his own arrows. Together, they drag Carly and Francine toward the woods. Observing that the cannibals are inexplicably still alive, Chris, with only one shotgun shell left, shoots his last shot at fuel canisters on the back of the police officer's truck, which explodes in a massive fireball. The 5 survivors driving the cannibals' truck stop back at the gas station. Chris, badly injured, gets out of the truck and removes the map to the cannibals' cabin so no one will ever go into the woods again before driving away. As the credits roll, the camera lingers on the 4 women as they lie in the truck bed and stare silently at the sky. The credits pause to show a van driving to the smoking ruins of the shack in the middle of the night. 2 suits get out of the van. One of them carries a Weston Pharmaceuticals clipboard. They assess the damage done to the testing zone and lament that their long-running experiment has met such an abrupt end, complaining as Three Finger, burnt beyond recognition and barely alive, watches from beneath a pile of rubble. As they pick through the ruins, one man pulls a singed ear from the refrigerator and wonders why, in each case, the test subjects feel the need to make grotesque little relics. His companion laughs and calls it some kind of primitive impulse. Tossing the ear aside, the other suit sighs, then climbs back into the van to proceed to Site 2. Three Fingers silently expires. The storm doors covering the bunker where the women were held captive sag, then collapse. The end.
All right.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
What do you think?
I like it. You know what's funny?
What?
The pharmaceutical company angle. I almost did the same thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Seriously.
That's hilarious.
I mean, the
I
movie...
think it's not that crazy a movie to make.
Because he's going to work for a pharmaceutical
Right.
company in the original cut of the movie. So, yeah. I did consider expanding on that. The reason I didn't ultimately is because I was thinking... You know, everybody you see in the movie who's a not a mutant, which is two whole characters who are not our like the gang of victims, right? They're unwell and sick seeming, and I liked the idea that like everybody was ill and that somehow the pharmaceutical company's poisoning them. But that felt historically too soon for like, because what you're really evoking with something like that is for West Virginia OxyContin, and then opioids, which that's an early form of an opioid, but like that phenomenon was a little later before that really started to settle in. Yeah. So I did consider that as a thing because the opioid crisis, the Sacklers and these people, right? Yeah. That was a big that it was a real life impact on the region. So I don't know. I didn't really want to emphasize that. I ultimately pivoted away from it.
I think that's fair.
I'm trying to at least try and put it in the context of when the movie was made.
Yeah. That's why I wanted it to be like there are all sorts of little bits of evidence of the pharmaceutical company's involvement over many decades.
Yeah, your stuff is much more timeless.
And I started it with like eugenics experimentation.
Where I specifically was thinking of the opioid crisis.
Sure, yeah. And I think mine, there are smatterings of that in mine too, but it's more like they've been watching them for 70 years.
Well, Oxy was then too, just not, people didn't quite know. Yeah, it wasn't as established.
Sure. Also, I chose, this is just a bit of trivia, but I chose the name Weston because there was a really famous, I believe, mental institution that had the name Weston in the West Virginia region. It's in a different part of the state, but I thought that might be a fun, like, sort of like ghost hunting style, like horror wink, because that's like a big site for ghost hunting tourism and stuff like that.
Did all of the women make it through your movie?
All of the women
really
live.
Wow.
Yeah. And in my imagination of how it plays out, like they're in different conditions. Like some of them have, borne up better or worse depending on their temperaments and their just who they are as people.
And Haley's been there a while.
Haley's been there.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's
long
that
enough
flashbacks like we don't realize.
It's a while ago.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. I also liked the idea of having like just a huge knockdown drag out melee at the end. Like, cause I really was thinking about how, like, for instance, Until Dawn becomes more of an adventure horror than just straight horror by the end, because all the characters have grown and learned and done so much.
They understand what the threat is by that point.
Yeah. And I thought that would be kind of fun in a movie that otherwise is fairly nasty.
Right.
So, I want not like a, take your power back, girls, but more just like let them do something. Let them fight against it.
You're referring, of course, to Until Dawn, the video game.
Not
Dawn,
the movie.
The recent movie
thank you for the
which we have not seen.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder if that would be a good movie for this podcast.
Maybe.
Anyway, neither here nor there. But I just wanted to. I felt like kind of looking a little bit more squarely at these villains, like both in terms of the camera looking at the villains, but also
funny that we both specifically. Well, I mean, not only did we both share that in the critique, but we had already written that.
Yeah. Though obviously yours goes into such beautiful, lavish detail about the specifics of their physical forms. Yeah. I'm just now. Did we mention your favorite detail about this movie?
The Pepto-Bismol?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Did we say that? I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. I would have been remiss had I let this podcast end without mentioning the fact that there's a man for fun, for refreshment,
drinking Pepto-Bismol. Yeah.
Pepto-Bismol. In my revision, of course, he would be drinking Western Pharmaceuticals bismuth liquid.
Of course.
But it's still a great detail. Anyway.
Yeah, little touches like that. Like it's difficult for me to dislike this movie. This is not a great movie, but yeah, that's a choice to set your country redneck down. In any other movie, it's like he's got the big stupid. He's got the jug with
the X's on
it. Yeah, that's what it is.
The hooch jug.
Yeah, but no, he's got a bottle of Pepto-Bismol instead.
That's nasty. Okay, wait. PSA for our listeners. Don't drink Pepto-Bismol. That's not a joke. Seriously, don't. Have it if you need it, but listen, observe the warning labels on the back. Don't take it a bunch of days in a row. Don't overindulge. I know it's delicious, but don't do it. It will destroy your stomach in a big way.
I say do whatever you want.
No, seriously, don't. That happened to me. I got really messed up for like a month because I did that. Not because I was drinking it like a milkshake, but just I had to use it days in a row. It's bad for you. It's seriously bad for you.
I think it's really good for you.
No, don't listen to him. Listeners, please.
Drink Pepto-Bismol.
No, don't.
I'd like to thank Pepto-Bismol for sponsoring this podcast. All right, folks. Which revision would you most like to see on screen? What movie would you like to see us cover next? Let us know at devilsworkshoppod@gmail.com.